we have our final day of our dental challenge for you, and today we're going to be looking at the different types of things that are available to help you with your dog's dental and oral care. So you've all heard of teeth brushing. We clean our own teeth. There are so many different levels of brushing teeth, keeping teeth clean, working with dogs that maybe really aren't keen to have anything handled around their face. It might be that they've already got some periodontal disease, so their mouth is uncomfortable. It might just be that they've not been handled much in their lives, so they're not too sure what it means when we come in diving in with a toothbrush. But there are lots and lots of things. So the best thing, as advised by vets generally, is regular brushing. But if you can't brush, then there are other things that you can do, and at least doing something is going to help your dogs. Okay, so don't worry, there are lots of different things that you can be doing. Okay, so just to give you a very quick idea, this is my box of all of my different types of dentally type tricks and bits and bobs. So I'm going to take you through some of them briefly. Okay, you've already met my piece of muslin cloth the other day, yesterday. So this is what I use. I trim pieces off of it so that I can just use a piece at a time, and then I bin it afterwards. And this is what I use to wrap around my finger and use that to wipe around. So that goes all around the teeth, around the gum line, and around the gum as well. So I tend to use different parts of it, and it's quite surprising what comes off there, really. When I was advised to use this by a vet about 6 years ago, I think now actually, it was a case of, if you can do the minimum, if you can do this every day, this will help your dog, because you're taking off the day's worth of dirt and bacteria and anything else that might be sort of on the teeth and tucked into the little pockets that you have around the gum line. If your dog has any teeth missing, then you've got food and bits and pieces tucked away in there as well. So you can actually remove quite a lot by doing this, even just doing that once a day or a few times a week, if that's the bare minimum. Okay, so something like this doesn't have to be this particular material, but something that you can use to wipe away whatever is on your dog's teeth. That is going to be a great start. If you can do more as well, even better, but that at a bare minimum really does help. Now, brushing, obviously. Now, I have all sorts of different types of toothbrushes. I have used the last of my normal toothbrushes recently on one of my poorly chickens, because she wasn't able to. She'd lost the use of her legs, bless her. So she wasn't able to stand up and preen herself properly, which meant where she was molting, she was getting lots of excess bits of feathers and feather casing. So I was using a toothbrush to get right in there and help her out. So when I'm using a toothbrush, I tend to use bamboo toothbrushes because you haven't got to worry about the plastic, and you can get children's ones, so the heads are quite small, so that works really well for my size dogs. And for that, you can get tons and tons of different types of toothpastes for dogs. You can get ones that are tasty, really nice tasting ones, like Door West Herbs do one that tastes like roast dinner. You can get toothpaste from places like Arm & Hammer that have got baking soda in, things like that. All sorts of crazy different things that will help your dogs. And you just put a little bit on your toothbrush and go around your dog's mouth, same as you would if you're brushing your own teeth. You've got, you can actually get electric toothbrushes for dogs. What I will say is, if your dog is noise sensitive in general, anxious, or just really isn't used to having anything around their mouth, don't dive in with an electric toothbrush. Start off with getting your dog's face used to being handled, and then maybe try with, wiping the teeth, then a normal toothbrush, and then move on to the electric toothbrush, because you've got a lot going on there. And I remember when I first had my electric toothbrush years ago, and it comes with different settings, and I have to have it on sensitive. I know, and even on sensitive, it's still a little bit too much for me. I still find it quite difficult, even all these years later. So I can only imagine what it's like for a dog. So don't dive in with it, but it is something that you could work up to. Now, another level from that are the ultrasonic style toothbrushes, of which I do have one. So I do use one. This is an EmiPet version, and they do have their own version of a toothpaste as well. And with these, the bizarre thing with these is when you turn them on, nothing outwardly happens. You don't have any noise, there's no vibrations. The only way you know that anything's actually happening is when you put this in the water to clean it, and you put a bit of toothpaste on here, put it in the water with it switched on, you'll start seeing a little bit of fizzing and bubbling, and that's it. That's the only way you know. And the light being on, it's really quite bizarre. But the reason why I wanted it was more for little Ripley down here, because she's got such a small space here in the back teeth that a normal toothbrush, by the time you've wedged it in there, you can't actually move it at all. So I wasn't able to brush her teeth. So I thought I'd try this, because again, electric toothbrush, I just felt there wasn't enough room there. And all you do with the ultrasonic is it goes on the tooth and you hold it there. You count up, you do several seconds, and then you move on to the next tooth. So that I can do. I can get that in Ripley's mouth and just hold it in place, and then move it on and hold it in place. So it actually works better for her size mouth. Yes, Merlin. Merlin says, I want to get up and show people all the good things that are here. Right, let me move this out of the way. Come on. No? Well, you're the one telling me you want to come up. So, it's because I'm by the grooming table, they'll think they're coming up. So that is another way of doing things. And if you decide you don't want one yourself, you'll find a lot of groomers use these now. And people actually do these just this without doing the grooming side of things. Do please be aware that sometimes these are being marketed as an alternative for going to a vet for a proper dental clean. If your dog has got dental disease, gum disease, bleeding gums, tooth fallen out, tooth broken, any of these things, they need to go to the vet, they need to be assessed properly, and they're very likely to need to go under a light anaesthetic to have actual work done. This cannot be replaced by any sort of toothbrush that you do with someone at a grooming place, at your own home, or whatever it might be. Okay, they can do a lot. They cannot get below the gum line, they cannot get bacteria out, they cannot help a broken tooth. So please just bear that in mind. Really, really good for preventative, really good at cleaning, cannot do the same job as a vet does when they do an absolutely thorough cleaning, tooth extraction and things like that. So just be aware there is a difference. Okay, not everyone is the same. Many people do do know what they're talking about, but I do see occasionally people saying, oh, this is exactly the same as the dent as a vet, but without the anaesthetic, and unfortunately it is not. Otherwise it would be really, really great, wouldn't it? Because too much anaesthetic is not going to be good for your dog over their lifetime. Are you coming up? No, we'll stop shouting at me then. So that is brushes and things that we brush with. Now we can go back right to the very beginning, and if you have a dog that isn't going to be keen, or you don't want to brush their teeth, or you want to just add to it, there are tons and tons of things you can give your dogs. So toys, you all know what a dog toy is. You've probably all got dog toys knocking around the place. I thought I had another one in here, but I can't see it now. I thought there was another one somewhere. But dog toys that are the rope style are brilliant. They literally are designed to be a form of dental floss. As your dog's chewing on them, they're helping it. Things are wiping on the teeth and on the gums. And then if you do have these little areas like this at the end, as your dog is pulling them through their teeth, it does work as a form of dental floss. So these can be great. So if your dog does like playing with toys, they might not look very exciting, but it's worth giving them to them, playing with them, actually seeing if your dog will use them from time to time, because this could be really, really helpful for your dog and for their future. Alongside those, I mentioned earlier about, earlier in the challenge with Merlin and his loose front teeth. So tuggy toys are really good. So you can actually get tuggy toys that are elasticy, that have a bit of give. You've got the rope there, so they've got something to purchase on, and actually a little bit of tuggy, not too much, especially when they're young, and you certainly don't want to be yanking them around, but that can be really, really good for getting those teeth nice and strong. Now, my Ripley is very cat-like. She doesn't weigh a lot. She's very delicate, well, most of the time. She actually has cat toys, and I can play with this with her, and when she gets it, she's pulling it, and I'm pulling it the other way, and that's actually working her teeth really, really nicely without it being too tough or the danger of just pulling her teeth right out. So even something little lightweight thing like this can be really good, especially if you've got a smaller breed or a puppy, or maybe a dog that's got a bit of a sensitive mouth. So toys, these sorts of things fabulous for that sort of stuff. Then you have more of a dentally type, chewy type toy. So the idea then is that your dog actually spends time chewing on them. So these are very small little bones from Bico. The idea is that you put food inside them, or you can put a chew stick in the end, and then while your dog is playing with it and it goes on their teeth and on their gums, the rubber is massaging. So that's really good for getting the blood flow going and for the healthy gums. Also wiping surface bacteria, etc., off the teeth and gums at the same time. So you've got things like that that are really just smooth, you know, smooth and like that. And then you have things like, do you know, I had this all nicely lined up and I can't find anything I'm looking for now. Oh, here you go. Then you have Nylobones and similar things to Nylobones. I have been a fan of Nylobones for many, many, many years. I like them. Not everyone will, same as anything. Some people like things, some people don't. The idea with the Nylabone is you've got different sizes, you've got different styles. So this one, as your dog is chewing on it, I don't know what happened there. My phone did something weird. You've got the little bobbly bits on there. So obviously as your dog's chewing on that, that's going to be scraping, it's going to be massaging and doing all sorts of great things. I will say, in all the years of being given Nylobones, buying Nylobones, getting packs of different styles, not many of my dogs have ever actually chewed one of these. I've never tried putting anything on it, but my dogs personally don't favour those ones. But they do favour these style, which look like they're not really doing a lot. But the idea with a Nylabone, the material of it, is that you have the smallest little fibres on there. So as your dog is chewing, tiny microscopic little fibres stick up, and again just lightly take the surface off of the tooth, so any dirt, debris, bacteria, etc. is coming off of there. And they last for ages, as you can see. These have been going for years. Do clean them occasionally because there is bacteria obviously on them, but those sorts of chews and ones that are similar to this, again, really good. Dogs like to get a bit of purchase on there, especially if they're teething, and they help with cleaning of the teeth as well. Then we can go into the more industrial sort of things. So these, I think this is actually the same as this. Well, not the same as this, obviously. This is by a company called, I want to say Bamboozles. I don't think I'm saying that right. It's bamboo, basically. So it's bamboodles might be, something like that. But they do lots of different sizes, I'm sure this is from the same company. And so the idea is it's not plastic, it's bamboo, so it's not actually bad for your dog as they're chewing it. If they swallow a piece, it's all natural, it's fibre, it just goes through the system. You're not then ending up with, if your dog doesn't like it and it gets binned, you don't get the problem with landfill because it's bamboo. And they're generally flavoured. And of course, you can see you've got the funny shape, you've got all the knobbly bobbly bits on there. So that as your dog is chewing it, again, it's working the gums, it's working the teeth, it's giving a nice cleaning action at the same time. This little one, which you can see has been chewed a little bit by Pepper, is flatter, but you do have different shapes on there. So again, that would be just getting all the blood flow going to the gums, making it nice and healthy, and helping keep the mouth healthy at the same time. So you have things like that, much more industrial. This is quite heavy, this one, I will say. You could use it as a doorstop, but I'm just keeping an eye on what the time's doing. You don't want a long lecture. But yeah, so this is another step up. So it's not designed to be given and eaten in one sitting. These are the sorts of things that your dog comes back to time and time again, or you give to them when they go in a crate or in a puppy pen, or behind a baby gate, that sort of thing. So yeah, so they're meant to last much longer, those sorts of things. You've also got ones that aren't meant to last as long. Oh, hang on a sec. Right, I've also got these. This could do with going in the wash, really. That's, where the hell's this been? So this is a small version of a doggy toothbrush. So the idea being is that your dogs can hold on to part of it, and then as they're chewing on here, you've got bristles that open up and all sorts going on. So that really does clean a lot of the teeth from all different directions. If your dog is a strong chewer, they like chewing things, this is the sort of thing they would enjoy. My dogs, I mean, this is, got a feeling I brought this from Merlin or Ripley. Probably about 4 years ago. It is starting to go, as you can see, but it's not really been chewed much. My dogs aren't really that big on chewing, so it hasn't been chewed very much. But I'm sure, again, if I put something on that tasted nice, that probably would get chewed a little bit more. But they can work. That's a small one. You can get different sizes of those. And then this was this was for a Labrador, so it really isn't for any of my dogs now. But this is a olive wood. You can get olive wood, you can get coffee wood chew, and so it is wood, but it's designed, the way the process works with the olive oil is that it then doesn't splinter. So as your dog's chewing on it, they get really good purchase. Pieces will come off in chunks, but they won't actually splinter and end up causing your dog any discomfort. So they could be really good for teething dogs, and also if your dog is just likes chewing, again, as they're chewing, it's giving the teeth a bit of a clean. At the same time as they're chomping down, it's making the jawline strong, and then helps you avoid the issue that I had with Merlin with the wonky teeth, the wobbly teeth, because they are actually using the jaw for something. So this is a large version. You can get much, much smaller. You can get roots as well for the same sort of thing, which Ripley had one of. So again, I can really get in there with the chewing if they like chewing. If they don't, it might not work for them quite so much. So yeah, so we've got all of those sorts of things, and then we move on to the things that can be edible. So what I'm going to do, because StreamYard likes to be 20 minutes long for a video, and we're coming up to 15 minutes, is I'm going to stop and I'm going to start a new video and go on to the edible side of the dental bits and pieces that I've got here. So stay tuned. The next link will be part 2.